Alright, boys and girls, first I want to apologize. I've got a few problems to do today, so I'm going to go through the solve process kind of quickly. We're just going to do SOLV on these three problems. The three problems we're going to do are Wednesday's problem from last week, week 4, Thursday's problem, which is the time problem that you had on Thursday, and then a guide for today's problem, which is week 5, Monday. All right, so let's start with what you see on the screen. There were some kids at the playground. 288 kids arrived at the playground. Now there are 511 kids at the playground. How many kids were at the playground to begin? So our unknown is our start. We don't know what we started with. We know that 288 kids arrived. They came, so there's more, so I put the plus sign. And now there's a total of 511. So I don't know how many we started with, but 288 kids came after that, and now we have 511. So we know that it is a join problem, and it is a start unknown join problem. So of course we take our question, how many kids were at the playground to begin, and then we come down here to our verify. There were unknown kids at the playground to begin with, you could put. Okay, so let's figure this out. There's a number of ways that we can use this. If we think of our fact families again, in order to solve our unknown, which is our start unknown, we can take our total of 511 and we can subtract 288. How did I know to subtract? Because we had some unknown number and then some kids came. So yes, it is a join problem, but I need to subtract from the total to be able to tell me how many we started with. So if I only have one, I can't subtract 8, so I have to regroup. I take one of my 10s, break it up into ones. I had one already there, so now I have a total of 11 ones. 11 minus 8 is 3. Now if I have 0, I can't take away 8, so I go over to my hundreds, which is I have 5 hundreds. I'm going to regroup one of them, so now I have 4 hundreds, and I have 10 tens that I'm taking over. So my 10 tens minus my 8 tens leaves me with 2 tens, and my 400s minus my 200 leaves me with 200. So we started with 223 kids at the playground. Okay, let's move on. This is a tough one. Thomas put a ham in the oven at 445. So our ham, I'm going to change up the color a little bit. Our ham, I don't like that color. Let me go back. Hang on. Sorry about that. Our ham went in at 445. After 15 minutes, he put a cake in the oven. The ham and the cake were in the oven together for 60 minutes. Then Thomas took them both out of the oven. What time did Thomas take both the ham and the cake out of the oven? So we don't know our result. We do not know what time they came out of the oven. We know there's a ham that went in at 445, and we know there's a cake that went in 15 minutes later. And we know they were in there for 60 minutes. Okay, so I have to organize some of this information here. So I'm going to come off to the side. I've got a ham that went in at 4:45. I've got a cake. I'm going to use my number line here. 4:45 ham. Now it says 15 minutes later the cake went in. Okay, if I look at my number line, my intervals, guess what? My intervals are in 15 minutes. 5:15, 5:30, 5:45, 6, 6:15, 6:30, 6:45. So perfect. If I know my ham is at 4:45, then I know my cake was at 5. So my cake went in at 5. They were both in the oven for 60 minutes. Well, I can do one of two things. I can think, okay, 60 minutes is 1 hour. They had to both be in there. They were both in there starting at 5 p.m. So I can say, well, an hour from here is 6 p.m. If I'm still not sure, I don't connect the fact that 60 minutes is 1 hour, I can count 15, 15, 15, 15. Okay? So, we've got 15 plus 15 equals 30. 15 plus another 15 equals another 30. And that gives me 60. So we know he took them out at 6 p.m. Now notice there wasn't necessarily a structure to this. We just took the problem and we logically worked through it. So this is one of those that didn't have one specific structure, and that's okay. What I did was first I used a number line, right? And then I also did kind of a guess and check. Well, I logically thought through the fact that they both were in there at 5 and they were in there for 60 minutes. I counted out 60 minutes on the number line. Anyhow, it's just a different way to use solve. Okay, here's today's guided problem. Alina has 64 ounces of sweet tea in a container. She poured 18 ounces into a large jug. How many ounces does Alina have left? So we don't know. Again, we don't know our results. Sorry, let me change up the color here. Results. We don't know what our answer is. We know she has 64 ounces in a large jug, and she poured 18 ounces. Sorry, I know my handwriting isn't that great. I'm doing my best here to go quickly for you. Okay, so we want to know. She had 64. She separated 18. And now she has some unknown amount. So I know that we're separating. We're separating ounces. We're taking tea away. We had this jug of tea, this big container of tea, and we poured 18 ounces out into a smaller jug, or a large jug, I'm sorry. A big container into a large jug. So if we're separating, right, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're subtracting. We're subtracting here in this problem because we want to know the result. She had 64. She had a full amount. 64, and she separated 18, so we don't know what she has left. Well, in this case, yes, we are subtracting, so what we have is 64 minus 18. If I only have 4, I cannot take away 8, so I'm going to regroup for my 10s. 5, bring over 10 ones, and I already had 4, so that leaves me with 14. 14 minus 8 is 6. 5 minus 1 is 4. So then she has 46 ounces. She started with 64. She poured out 18. Leaves her with 46. You guys, I know this was really fast. I hope this problem helps you on today's problem. And I hope the other problems helped you out on the other problems that you had to do. I hope these problems helped you out again, like I said, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Thank you guys again for doing these problems of the day, and I'm really enjoying connecting with you guys. On the next video, I will promise to put up some work that you guys have sent in. I just didn't on this one because of how many problems I had to get through. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.